Welcome to this video. Today we are going to look at 2021 Science P1 question for intent. So this question is basically on force. And it is also one of the most repeated questions in paper 1. So before I start the video, be sure to subscribe, comment and like my videos so that I can make more videos like this. So the question is saying, state Newton's second law of motion. So we know that there are basically three laws which guides forces. There is Newton's first law of motion, second and the third. But here we want to look at the first and the second law of motion. So if you want to know all the laws and the entire topic on force, be sure to subscribe to my channels because some videos are only available to subscribers. So let's start. So Newton's second law of motion states that the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the force acting on it, and inversely proportional to its mass. So this is what Newton's second law of motion states. So it relates three things. We have the acceleration, the force, and the mass. So what does this mean? Direct proportion. So it means that if the force increases, the acceleration will increase. But if the force increases or if the acceleration increases, the mass should be small. So meaning if mass increases, the acceleration will reduce. You need to know that if you increase the mass, the acceleration reduces. But if you increase the force, the acceleration does increases. That's the meaning of directly proportional and inversely proportional to its mass. So now moving on to question B. So question B was saying the following diagram shows a 4 kg box resting on a frictionless surface with a force acting on it. So here, this is the diagram. Basically, we have three forces acting on the box. So before you jump into calculating the question, first you need to understand the diagram. So we need to compare the left and the right side for the forces to see where the object accelerated. So we can see that on the left side we have 16 newtons and 12 newtons, which when we add, we have a total of 28 newtons on the on the left. And when we look on the right, we only have what? 10 newtons. So, meaning the box will move where the force is what? Is great, which is to the what? To the left, because we have 28 newtons, which is bigger than 10 newtons. Yeah, so now we know the side where the box will accelerate. Second, you need to find now the resultant force. So how can you find the resultant force? So basically the resultant force, we find it by subtracting the smaller force with what? The bigger force. So in our case, the resultant force is 28 minus what? 10, which gives us 18 newtons. So this is the resultant force or the net force which we are going to use to solve the question. Yeah, now imagine if you just started solving the question without even looking at the diagram. Which force would you have picked? Yeah, so this question was a bit tricky, and remember, physics questions look simple, but actually they are tricky. Yeah, you can see that this question is simple. You just solve in 2 seconds, but forgetting the what? The concept. So you have to apply the concept. Yeah. So now, this is the point where now you introduce Newton's second law, which is force is equals to mass times acceleration. Yeah. For those that have difficulty in changing the subject of the formula, I've made the video separate where I explain how you can make something the subject of the formula. Yeah. So this is the formula we are going to use to solve. The question is asking us, remember, to calculate the uniform acceleration. Therefore, we have to change the formula to acceleration, which is acceleration is equals to force times force divided by mass. Yeah. Then, if you look at the question, our force we have, or our resultant force which we have, is what? 18. And the mass which we have is what? 4. So if you are to divide 4 into 18, you can see that you have 4.5 meters per second squared. Yeah, so this is our acceleration which the object moved. But remember, we had the 3 forces. So meaning the final answer, you should indicate which side the box accelerated to. Yeah, because if you just leave the answer like this, we won't know which side the box accelerated to. And remember, I said acceleration has both what? The magnitude and the direction. Yeah. So the final answer, you can say acceleration is equal to 4.5 meters per second squared to the left. Yeah, because the left was the one with what? A higher what? Force. Yeah. So remember, if you have more than one force, add the forces. But if you only have one force, you can pick it because that's the net force. Yeah. And remember, this formula is very important. Force is equals to mass times acceleration. And also you need to know the Newton's second law of motion, which says the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the force acting on it, and inversely proportional to the what? To the mass. So in case by any chance you forgot the entire definition, you can just write this formula. Acceleration is equal to mass times, acceleration is equal to force divided by mass. It's the same as this. Yeah, we say that if the force increases, acceleration increases. If the mass increases, acceleration reduces. These are some of the multiple choice questions. Yeah, they can just ask you, when acceleration increases, what happens to the mass or the force? Yeah, so this is where our video ends. Yeah, so this is where the video ends, and be sure to subscribe, comment, and share the video. Yeah, so whatever you comment in the comment section, I make a video on it, so you can inbox the difficult questions which you want me to solve. Yeah, see you in the next video.